Xabi Alonso is creating a football revolution. Pressing, high-passing football at Leverkusen, the man is on a mission to change the game and break the curse of Neverkusen. But before I get into that, I have to go back to where it all started. Because before Xabi became a world-class prospect coach, he was a world-class prospect baller. All his life, Xabi Alonso has always been connected to football. His dad, Perico Alonso, back in the day, was a former professional footballer who became a coach later on, and a very good one too. Alonso Sr. played for Barca before having managerial stints at Eibar at Real Sociedad. For Xabi, growing up with his brother Mikel Alonso was football. They both played together with their dad on the weekends. And pretty soon Alonso had set himself apart as a top talent, made his debut for the Real Sociedad senior team, and after a couple of seasons balling out with some of the best players in the world, he was off to Liverpool, came back to Real Madrid, won multiple trophies, and then went to Bayern for a couple of seasons before retiring. In all, Xabi Alonso was a beast in his prime, not because of the goals and assists, but his range of passing. This dude could pick out a teammate with his eyes closed. In 2017, Xabi decided to call it quits on his playing career. And with a brain like he's got, there was no way he'd just stay out of the game like that. So he spent the next year taking his UEFA coaching license course with UEFA. And by the time he was finished, Xabi Alonso, the baller, was now ready to take the next step in the game and become Xabi, the master tactician. The first step was going back to one of his former clubs, Real Madrid, and kicking off his career with the under-13 team. And it was electric. In his first season with the team, Alonso guided them to an unbeaten season, before joining Real Sociedad and moving further up with the B team. Alonso finished 5th in his first season with the team before achieving promotion with the B team the following season. And that doesn't even tell the full story. See guys, Alonso had created a system at Sociedad that involved high pressing, ball retention, and swift counterattacks. Combine all of this and he was building a team that had promising signs for everyone to see. And that's why even though they got relegated the following season, Alonso still had people singing his praise. And now, he knew he was done coaching at the youth-level setups. The first major offer came calling: Borussia Mönchengladbach. At the time, the club was in love with Alonso's tactical setup he'd used at his youth teams, so they offered him a chance to become the new head coach of the club. But Alonso refused the offer. Xabi's a really smart guy, so I'm guessing he turned this down because he wanted to build his persona up a bit and wait for the right offer. To be fair, Alonso was being linked with a move to almost every major European club he'd played for, so it came as a surprise when months later, he was signing a deal in Germany to take over these guys. Bayer Leverkusen. At the time, Alonso had guys like me struggling to understand this decision because Leverkusen was awful. They were 17th in the league, had gone through 3 coaches in 18 months, had won just 1 league game in 8 matches so far, were already out of the DFB Pokal, and had only collected 1 win in 3 Champions League group stage games. Awful stuff. But the thing is, Alonso's ability and vision to see things no one else saw didn't just end on the pitch. It started off it too. Because while people were questioning his move to the struggling team and already destined him to fail, Alonso saw a team that he could use to implement his own brand of football. But first, he had to get them to survive. At his unveiling ceremony, even the Leverkusen board of directors didn't seem too convinced about this move, because the only thing they could refer to was Xavi's tactical approach to the game, and nothing more. But one of Alonso's former managers had been backing him to become a top coach years back, because unlike the other guys, he already knew. His father was a manager, so he grew up similar to me. Then he became a player, of course much better than I was. He played in Spain, England, and Germany, and he was coached by Guardiola at Bayern, by myself at Real Madrid, by Ancelotti at Real Madrid, and by Benitez in Liverpool. So I think if you put all this together, Xabi has the conditions to be a very good coach. The dude speaking here was Jose Mourinho. If you're getting that much praise from the guy who called Luke Shaw a puppet and made Mohamed Salah cry, then you know you must be very special. But now Alonso was on the Leverkusen seat. The time for talking was over and the action was about to begin. In his first match for Leverkusen, the club seemed to have the new manager bounce, trashing Schalke 04 and earning Alonso the biggest ever victory by a Leverkusen coach on his debut. But right after this impressive win, the club failed to win any of the next 4 matches. At this point, the critics were out in full flow and began labeling Alonso as one of those legendary ballers who ended up becoming terrible coaches. But just like he has always been throughout his career, Alonso remained calm because he knew all that was needed was to turn his team into a group of ballers. And on the next training day, after a goalless draw to Club Brugge in the Champions League, he had each member of the squad subscribe to Baller 90, and just like that, they hit another gear. He's already subscribed to Baller 90, just like you're about to. Run it up. Alonso was smart enough to realize the mistakes under the previous head coach Gerardo Sion. First, the high-pressing system the club used was disjointed. It looked pleasing to the eye, but with a 4-2-3-1, with only two midfielders acting as the base, once they got beaten on the press, they looked vulnerable. So instead, Alonso switched to a 3-4-3 and focused on ball possession rather than high pressing. And it did the trick because now they looked like a solid team. Alonso had also figured out a way to get the best out of two players who were struggling under Sion, Jeremy Frimpong and Moussa Diaby. While Frimpong's speed down the flanks allowed the team to easily transition from defense to attack, especially on the counter, Moussa Diaby proved to be the clinical hitman, ending the season as Leverkusen's top scorer with 14 goals. Alonso changed the fortunes of the club, and at the business end of the season, he had taken them from 17th to fighting for an outside shot in the Champions League, and even more impressively, they were in the semi-finals of the Europa League against Jose Mourinho's Roma. Leverkusen finished 6th, and after getting knocked out by Roma, the summer transfer window was going to be very important for Alonso, because now he was going to be entering his first full season as a manager. And it's safe to say this one started on the wrong foot. Moussa Diaby, the guy I mentioned earlier, yeah, the one with the most goals for Alonso's team last season, well, he was off to Aston Villa for 55 million euros. But you see, Alonso already had a plan in place to rebuild the squad, and with Diaby leaving, the team looked weak and depleted. But Xabi always has a plan. First, with Frimpong already on the right wing, Alonso knew he needed someone equally as good or even better to complement his qualities and offer the same energy down the flanks. So he quietly went about business and signed what had to be the best free transfer of 2023. Alejandro Grimaldo. I know this dude on FIFA. Every season, it always felt like Grimaldo was set for a move away from Benfica, but it never happened. And with his contract at the club finished, Alonso copped him for free. And so far, he's been insanely good. So far this season, he has 8 goals and 6 assists in 17 matches. That's 14 goal contributions from 17 games. That too as a wingback, and those goals aren't cheap too. He's scoring bangers like this. Freaking golazo. With his wingback positions now on lock, Alonso moved to the next part of the plan, and that was adding more strength and talent in midfield. For this one, he called in a special request from an old friend. Alonso and Mikel Arteta go back. I mean, way back. They both grew up together on the same street in San Sebastian and both played for the Real Sociedad Academy. Alonso made his debut for the senior team first, and it was after he left that Arteta made his debut for Sociedad. While they never played as teammates at club level, they did face each other in the Premier League Merseyside Derby, when Alonso played for Liverpool and Arteta played for Everton. They've always kept close communication with each other, so when Alonso realized that Arteta had a player he knew would fit into his team, he put in a call, and weeks later unveiled his new man to the Bay Arena.
In a dream debut.
It was very important to have a good start.
Granit Xhaka sitting at the base of that Leverkusen midfield. Xhaka adds the experience needed, reads the game easily, and occasionally drops bangers to chip in with his share of goals. Speaking of goals, with the back three already sorted out, the wing-backs and midfield in place, it was now time for Alonso to finally face that goal-size problem in the team. And once again, he proved he was a class above the rest by cutting a masterstroke deal.
With the efforts, what a goal!
Victor Boniface. While most people hadn't heard of him before last season, he was making waves in the Europa League with Union St. Gilloise. Boniface ended last season as the Europa League's top scorer, and straight away he entered that Leverkusen team and not only dropped goals, but a crazy dance move that was taking Germany by storm. Contagious! Boniface has been so good that he's won the Bundesliga Rookie of the Month award 3 months in a row, and that form has equally transitioned into the team too. Because coming into the last international break of the year, Leverkusen sits at the top of the Bundesliga, are still unbeaten in all competitions, and are playing some seriously good football. But Xabi Alonso knows he can't get carried away, because deep down, he's aiming to become the first man in 30 years to break the curse of Leverkusen. To put this into context, the last time Leverkusen won a major trophy was in 1993. I wasn't even born then. Since that period, they've come close on multiple occasions. 2002, they bottled a treble charge and lost all 3 trophies, with 5 matches left to play. Have finished as runners-up 5 times, and runners-up in the DFB Pokal 3 times. And who knows, maybe this season, Xabi might be the man to change that. He'd need to keep his team in check though, because he doesn't need them collecting any crazy red cards along the way. And speaking of red cards, you gotta check out the time Pepe tackled a guy so hard that he sent him to the ER and got banned for months. It's all in the next video, just click it.